Or was there a level? Was there a level to the sheep shearing that was mindfulness?
Well, I think there was the strength in someone to learn just to say no. I don't need to go to that. I want to go for a walk on the beach, for example. Like when I say at times, Sam Mitchell hates saying at times.
Why does he hate you saying at times?
At times we are connected in our forward line well.
Yeah.
Because what do you mean at times? I said, well, there was times we did it, there's times we'll just say that.
Yeah.
I use Spider-Man's analogy. So with great power comes great responsibility, but I chuck out the power, so cross out the power, and I go with great talent. It comes great responsibility. They sits me down and said, we're not going to go with you next year, we're going to trade you. I remember saying, no, I don't, I'm okay.
Yeah, no, that's all
He
good.
goes, no.
Hick, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Mate, it's an honour to meet you, really, because firstly, I've just heard so many amazing stories about you from previous guests we've had and the impact that you've had on them. But secondly, because I grew up obviously a massive Carlton supporter, and I still remember you so fondly to this day because I don't know what it is. You know when you're young, little things stick out. I remember you wearing the arm guard.
My arm,
the arm guard.
Yeah.
And it just stood out to me. And I reckon I used to do it in juniors. I didn't even have a broken arm, but I did it because you had it on.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's good. That was protect me, and also back in those days you could do a bit more with it at times.
Yeah. Mate, how do you reflect on everything now? Obviously, coaching at Hawthorn, your playing days, West Coast, Carlton, Geelong, everywhere you've been. You were just saying before 52?
Yep,
52 years of age.
Yeah.
Spent a long time in football.
Yeah, it's been a great journey. I've loved every minute of it. You know, I was a farmer, so in Horsham, I grew up in Horsham, probably 80 k's out of Horsham, on a farm with my old man, and we had sheep, wheat, and cattle. And I was heading for a shearing future. I love shearing. I was a good shearer too.
Really?
I think I was. Yeah, I was a good shearer. And from there, from being a potential shearer or farmer to where I am now is it's been a really fascinating journey.
What was the transition like from Horsham to? Because I first picked up at Geelong. Was it draft?
No, zoned. So it's a good story. I was shearing sheep, and the draft come along, and I thought I was going to get drafted. And so Dad brought down the TV. You know, families bring down TV, and they all got around this TV, and I kept shearing. I thought. Anyway, I missed out on the draft, so they snuck the TV back up, and we all kept shearing. So I missed out on the draft, and Stephen Wells come down all the way down to the farm. Actually invited me up to Geelong to train, so I took it up straight away, and from there it went on from there. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So who were you playing with at the time, like before, like with the junior footy and stuff?
Horsham Football Club. Yeah.
So just as a young man playing in the seniors. And,
16, 17-year-old playing, or 17, 18 playing in the seniors at Horsham, and we won 2 premierships there. My uncle Peter Hickmott was coach then, so it was great, good fun, and I dreamed of playing AFL footy. But once I missed out on the draft, I thought, oh, there goes that. So knuckle down and be a good farmer and be a good sheep shearer and go from there. But I was lucky enough, like I said, to get up to Geelong and train.
Stephen Wells, he gets a big rap with, Tom Stewart and, Atkins and all the like, but didn't realise yourself was in that list as well. So that's another tip of the cap to him.
Yeah.
Getting to Geelong at that period, what was it like? What was a club like at that stage when you arrived?
Yeah, a good side. Just lost the 89 grand final. I played in 2 grand finals there. We lost those both. So they were in a real good era, if you like, without winning one, which is a shame back then. And they had Gary Ablett Senior and Paul Couch. And I'm not sure you meant to name drop on these shows.
Yes, you are, mate. Drop them like bombs. Yeah, drop them. So Gary Ablett Junior was still
senior. Sorry,
senior.
He's junior. Yeah,
junior was in the.
His
He
little
was a
kid was
sparkle
running
in the
around.
eye.
Two
Yeah.
little kids were running around, and so I had a really fantastic side. Just couldn't, unlucky to not win one in those times. So it was great. I missed the farm for a start. I had a job as a store person in a little sort of a house and garden place in the marquee in Geelong, and I went from a big open farm to this store, opening boxes and putting the glassware and on shelves out in the store. But one door was at one end had no windows, another door had no windows. So I worked there for 2 years with no windows from a farm of 10,000 acres to this little storeroom. So it was real real challenge. But now I look back, I thought, oh, wow, that was obviously done for a reason. So it can help others. Yeah.
Do you reckon, now, fast forward a little bit before we go back, and I jump around a lot today. It's apologies already. But you obviously, how would you explain your outlook on life? Like I'd say it's like from what I've heard, quite a holistic approach to health and mindfulness and the way you like to approach certain situations. Do you think, you talk about this young kid in Horsham that was sheep shearing. Was it the same then that it is now and it just wasn't discovered? Or was it like a journey of life to discover where you're at?
That's a good, I think the farming brought, Dad getting jobs done on the farm and making the farm work. Relied on weather. Ask all the farmers out there now, rely on weather and sheep shearing and cattle and there's so much to do all the time. You had no time to think about other things, so life just went on. And as soon as footy came around, the same thing happened. Like you're in footy, you're in a club that's train work. So I think I just wanted to make the most of the times where I was at places. So Geelong, when I was there, I wanted to make the most of that. I didn't quite want to go back to the farm because it's hard work. And then when I went to Carlton after Geelong to make my most of the time there. So, I think I look at life like you only live once, like the old saying, and you've got to enjoy it. And even now with our players, I go 50-50. So if they make a mistake, that's my fault, but it's their fault as well. And I think that's a good mix. So that's sort of how I take life as well.
What about the I suppose the outlook on your meditation and these sort of things that you do? Was that always something ingrained in you, or has that been a development? Because you think about, I suppose, the era in which you grew up and that not even being a part of elite sport at that time. Like I can't imagine a young 18-year-old kid that's sheep shearing then sitting in the corner and doing some mindfulness.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely not.
Or was there a level? Was there a level to the sheep shearing that was mindfulness?
Well, I think there was.
Because this is what I'm learning myself, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to bore you with this, but
go for it.
When my wife said to me the other day, she's like, "Why are you always like in the backyard, just like doing things?" And one is the main reason I work this out, and it's not even like, to fix anything or anything, but like when I'm in the backyard using my hands and just focusing on like pulling weeds out, mowing the lawns, cleaning something, doing something, it's the one time I can find like complete bliss of like not thinking about anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so without me knowing it, I would have been doing the same thing. So I love fishing.
Yeah.
I go out in Port Phillip Bay and it's snapper season. I can't catch a snapper.
Well, I've heard that you are one of the worst fishermen there ever was.
Easy. The boat sits out there, but I just love being out there. I think it's like there's no one around. It's just yourself. I went camping 5 days, 6 days by myself, sort of along a river. Still didn't catch any fish. We got some bites, but I just love the peace and quiet. So in a way, fishing, whether it's walking on the beach or swimming, you get your own mindfulness. Like rather, not all the time do you have to sit down for 5 minutes, 10 minutes and cross your legs. You can do a lot of other things that takes your mind off. I think the main thing is to take your mind off life, like just off work, and feel. It's a good feeling. Like when I talk about this with the players or my wife, and the feeling of it, like that's. I think most people have this feeling, whether it's big or small, and I like the feel of it, the touch. It makes me feel good. So it's more about the feel on how I feel, not thinking about other things, because I'm, over in Western Australia, I'd put some car battery, like a dual battery system in my car, and it took ages, but I liked it because it got me away from footy, got me away from work, got me away from everything because I needed to make sure this wire was good, and I'm not an electrician, so I do a lot of Googling, but I need to know it's good. So concentration, I'm very finicky, and it takes my mind off everything. So I think that's got a lot to do with it.
Couldn't agree more. I ripped up the other day. I ripped up like 400 square meters of carpet tiles, and it was like the worst thing I've ever done because like it was so monotonous, but I was like so just locked in,
yeah,
and like the time just flew. And I got home and I was like, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Like that was just like, yeah.
It's rare. Like, I'm not saying
it's hard to get
rare.
it.
Yeah.
No, it is. It's really hard to get it.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, yeah, I think that moment they're hard to find. And, you know, we carry phones with us wherever we go. And as soon as you get a text, it's like, now this is just me speaking. It's like within like the law, it's not the law, but the law is you have to text back within 2 minutes because it's a text, so they can see the text. And on the other end, they go, why isn't Hick texting back? Like, what's wrong with him? But I don't want, it's the phone can be a problem. So for me personally, hopping away from that means a lot. Like just putting it over there, diving into something else, even fishing, I put my phone in the glove box and I don't look at it again. So just to even get that away from myself helps me personally.
So how do you do that then? Because look, I've been lucky enough to be inside the four walls of an AFL club, and I know how when you're so involved in something and you're so like as a team just like fuck. I remember once we sat in a meeting and we were talking about corralling to the boundary for like an hour. And now that I leave that, I go, why the fuck were we doing that?
Yeah.
But like, how do you keep that form of like looking after yourself with players that, you know, you're at Hawthorn with some of these young guys at the moment who live on technology and they love they love what comes with the game and they bring such amazing energy to the game as well, but then also bring them back to being like, how do you focus on themselves and be present in the moment as well?
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, I get into a fair bit of trouble for not answering my phone. So, yep, I get, where have we been? Like, I go, oh, damn.
So Mitch is calling you like, mate,
Mitch, I do return Mitch call. There's people that you obviously need to.
Yeah.
But even then, sometimes I'll be fishing.
Yeah.
And, like, I won't hear the phone. Now, I've got a watch now that tells me. So I'm probably a bit stubborn in that way. And, you know, I've had some mates go crook at me. Oh, answer your phone, mate. What's going on?
Yeah.
I said, once I don't do it, then I forget because I'm into something else. And so it is, for me, it's a real juggling act. If Nick Watson or Jack Ginnivan, Cal Shadir ring me the other day, I'll answer those calls. If I don't straight away, I'll call them back within a couple of days. So I think the people around me understand that I need my time. Like it sounds really selfish, right? Like I've got two sons in WA, Molly, a daughter, and a wife at home, and sometimes I get in trouble by the family too for not texting back straight away, not answering my phone calls. But I put the phone over there. It actually sounds a little bit disrespectful when I think about it, but for me to be myself and to help others the best I can, I think I need that space. So that's the way I look at it. Yeah.
Do you know what's really interesting? We're jumping around a lot today, and I apologise to everyone, but I'm sure they're enjoying it. When I became a dad, I got two kids, two babies. One's a toddler and one's a 6-month-old. And I think you can get stuck in this trap of like as soon as you become a father or something in your life, you have to just give all your energy to your family. And I actually found the reverse. What happened, I like completely just like broke down. I was fucking cooked. I was spending all my time trying to like keep them happy and trying to keep the business going, and had like a complete breakdown basically. And then had some really good advice through seeking people and realised like, you know, it's the analogy of when you get on a plane and you have to put your own oxygen on first so that then you can help other people. And my mindset now, which again, it sounds selfish and I hate even saying it publicly, but it's like I have to actually treat myself as number one so that then I can be the best version for them and everyone else around me. So I've sort of like completely flipped that now and been like, you know, it doesn't mean don't go and do things with people or don't do it, but prioritise getting things done first so that then you can actually be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, spot on. I think it's getting harder and harder to do that. Not for me, myself, I've sort of brought myself up to work hard at that and to explain to others this is what I need. But for others to do it, for others to say no, or I don't want to go there. Oh, come on. Like there's a lot of, you know, they get another text. Come on, why not? Come on. Oh, okay. So the strength in someone to learn just to say no. No, I don't. No, it's okay. I don't want to go. I don't need to go to that. I want to go for a walk on the beach, for example. And the opposite to what their really true feeling hurts me when I know that person, I know they don't want to do it really, but they're just doing it because they've been talked into it or because of they feel bad for the other person, but then they're costing themselves. And one thing is, I believe when we are tired, like when I'm tired, and we all get a bit, there's research on it, so I'm not a psychologist, and I study, but I don't study that. But I get grumpy, but I'm not sure why I'm grumpy sometimes. Like, now I can catch myself. If I feel a bit irritated, a bit frustrated, I can feel myself. You can feel yourself when you it starts building up, and then I'll catch myself and I go, whoa. I didn't sleep last night. I didn't go for a swim this morning in the bay. There's a couple of things I missed out on. I didn't do my exercises, for example. I missed out on a few things that I usually do. So catching yourself, I think, is really important too.
I couldn't agree more. It's really fascinating. Like I was listening the other day about this thing, like the rule of thirds. Have you heard about this rule of thirds? I'll probably fuck it up anyway, but I'll explain it. And
you meant to when you quote things, is that like they're just us saying it, aren't they? Like,
no.
1,000 people ring in and say, "What do you mean about?"
I made this up, and it talks about when you are trying to do something well, and the person that was talking about an athlete, right? She was training to go to the Olympics, and there's a rule of thirds. Like whenever you're trying to achieve something, and at 1/3 of the time, you're going to feel really good. And you're going to be like loving life and it's going to be going fantastic. The second third of the time, you're going to be feeling just average and you're not going to know what's going on. You might be questioning yourself and doubting whether you can do it. And then the other third is you're going to be feeling miserable and the fact that you're convincing yourself that it's impossible. And the point of this like rule of thirds is the fact that if you experience those three phases, like you're on the right path. Like you can't consistently be in that first third of knowing it's going to work, because you're probably being delusional or you're not setting a goal high enough. So it's like for me now, whenever I'm thinking about something and what's helped me, whether it's helping me or whether it's not, right? Placebo, nocebo. I've been thinking, fuck, I'm in this shit period at the moment, but rule of thirds, I must be on the way to something at the moment because if I wasn't challenging myself hard enough, then I'm not probably going to be feeling shit.
Yep. Yeah, I like it.
You can take that one if you want.
I'll take that one. Yeah, I like it.
The other one being as well before you're talking about, I'm getting a bit weird on you straight too quickly, but are you a big, like, do you like the universe, like do you believe in the universe and
spirits,
spirits and stuff? The other day, how much do you believe like the body is linked with, mind, health, everything? Like I was cooked the other day and I knew I wasn't doing all these things that I should have been doing. And I woke up and I was like, I just copped the biggest like punch in the face virus that just floored me for 2 days. Yeah. And it was almost like everyone was just saying, hey, you're getting ahead of yourself here, mate. You said you were going to do X, Y, and Z. You haven't. So now I'm going to put you in bed for 2 days. And I had that bad of migraines. I couldn't even look at my phone. Yeah. So it was almost like saying, get back to your basics, get back to where you need to get to and realign.
Yeah, I think, I think that put your mask on, in the plane, that sort of stuff. It comes back to that. But whatever that fuel thing is, like I'm into that sort of stuff. And I talk to some of the players and they look at me strange. But after a while, they start. I think if I can explain it well enough, which I don't, but it takes time. So taking time is good at times because you can. They can start to understand you more and more. So to understand the way I work, the way I want them to play footy, the way we want them to, express themselves on the training track, express themselves to be who they are. So I think if you can really push someone to be who they are, truly are, not just for fake. You don't. That's when you're with your best mate. When you're with your best mate, you've grown up with him. And you've gone camping together and you just talk, you're just talking like it, and time just goes like crazy. Now, how close can you get to be that person on the footy field or in, at school or at work or anywhere? Like that's because I think that's who we truly are, and it's difficult sometimes.
So what's your sort of official role at Hawks? Like I know, obviously you're an assistant coach, but what comes with that extra? I I suppose, extra coaching that you're talking about there at the moment? Like, how would you describe yourself as a coach?
The simple answer is a forward line coach.
Yep.
Yeah, work with the forward line. I do mindfulness with Ed Barlow. Ed Barlow's our psychologist.
Yeah,
there.
he's an absolute champion.
Yeah.
The big cheese.
Yep. He's a beauty. Yeah, he's a beauty. So we take in turns doing mindfulness. He's a professional at it, and I do it through my experience and my learnings from it. So it's quite different, but quite similar at the same time. And then mentor just whoever really. Sam Mitchell, he's fantastic. Like he allows you to be yourself, which I really like. I've seen it before throughout my coaching world and through work as well. But Sam's really good at just being who you are. Like be who you are. He can, if someone comes up to you, just talk to them as you know how to talk to them, and just let the other coach know, for example. So not such a just be there really for people, and mainly for those young crazy forwards, and set them off in the right direction. And Coach Simo and I talk all the time, and Brett Ratton's there as well. We communicate and get on the comms, and so really that's about it. I do whiteboard sessions. You heard about those whiteboard sessions? I see. So anyone that wants one of those, we just go in there and start writing.
I'd love to talk about that in a second.
Would you? Yeah.
If you're happy to, but the one. So just on that as well, picking up like Rats, Simo, obviously Carlton connection there too, which you would have played about, which I'd love to talk about too. There's so many things. Whiteboard session. What is that? How does it work? How do you get involved in one of those?
Yeah. So the easiest way to explain it is I talk to players. Mm-hmm. Yep. Just have a chat, and then I can sense they're not themselves. So I'm big on being yourself, and is there something going on, whether it's footy, whether it's selection, whether it's off-field, on-field, doesn't matter where. Mm-hmm. And if there's a pattern of that, then we just walk in front of a whiteboard, and my first question is, are you okay? And for most people, that's difficult to answer, truthfully. Yeah, I'm okay. Most times we go, yeah, I'm okay, no worries. So I turn my back to the person, so there's no emotional connection, no facial expressions, because I really want them to express themselves the best way they can without me giving because I have, I lower my eyebrows, I've got a deep tone of voice, I can be maybe a bit intimidating sometimes, a bit, if I turn around and do that, they'll go, oh, I don't want that. I want them to be themselves. So face the whiteboard. And just say, how come you're okay? And then it starts from there, and then we just talk about footy, talk about themselves, and if there's any worries, potentially they come out. That's what we got. That's what Ed Barlow's there as well for. Mm-hmm. So we use him in this scenario, and they can go for an hour, they can go for 5 minutes, and by the end of it, the whiteboard's full of what their language, what they've said. Yeah.
And from that, I'm assuming there's takeaways to then go forward. Like, is it something that you catch up with and work on whatever's come out to?
At times. Yeah. When I say at times, Sam Mitchell hates saying at times.
Yeah.
Every time I say I went there.
Why does he hate you saying at times?
Because it's an hour. It's sort of just say it.
Yeah.
Just say it. Just say it. At times we. Connected in our forward line well.
Yeah.
He goes, what do you mean at times? I said, well, there was times we did it, and there's times we'll just say that.
Yeah.
Says Sam. Not really. So they'll take a picture of it.
Yep.
And then if there's anything, out there, I'll say, I'll go and connect with who you need to from here.
Yep.
So I'll make sure that happens. But apart from that, no, not really. They just look at it. It's their voice, it's their language. I rarely, I'll ask a question, but I'll let the player do most of the talking. So then whatever they say, I'll just write down. So it's really not about me. It's really the player talking, and I'll just keep writing what they're talking about. And I'll do arrows, and it seems to all connect in the same spot. And once they sit back and have a look at what they've said, because it's not me, it's just what comes out of their brains, in their minds, they have a look back and go, I can see them do it now. They sit there and go, look across and read. They go, and it's just seeing what they've said. I think it's the most powerful bit of it all.
Like a big brain dump.
That's all. Yeah, it's like a brain map, those things. But it's just kamikaze. It's everywhere. So sometimes we'll talk about something over there, and then I'll hear something that needs to be written over here. So I'll go back over and write over there that connects with that. And when the person, it's not just players, but when they can see what they've written, I believe they look at it and go, they've got a better understanding of themselves. And that's really all we want. From a coach's point of view and a mentor's point of view, just if you can understand yourself better or a little bit better, that will help you on field, off field, as a person, and help you be a good teammate, all those sort of things, yeah.
Oh, it's I completely understand where you're coming from. The connectiveness of, I suppose, like something on the left to the right, like you always think, how are those two things connected?
Yeah.
Until you gap like 4 bits and you're like, fucking hell, that's the reason this
there
happened.
It is, yeah.
There it is.
That's exactly right. And I think when you talk, so if I just sat and talked to them, that's good too. So, I'm not saying don't talk to anyone. But personally, for me, I think when the person here sees what they've written, so an example, I would write something over here and then they'll contradict it like half an hour later over here. And I try not to talk. So I do not, my talking is just writing. So I'd say 5 words for the whole hour. So I'd ask the question, I'd say this, and then I'd point to that. And so then now that they've got to work it out themselves, and they go, they look over there, they go, oh. But I won't. I don't turn around, don't acknowledge. So I know they're thinking in the background. I know their minds. Oh, yeah, okay, I said that, now I said that. Well, that doesn't make sense. But when you talk half an hour later, I reckon they'd forget about that, and they'd say, no, I didn't say that, unless you film it like we are.
What do you think, and not to specifically talk about any person in particular or people you've worked with, but in your experience doing these whiteboard sessions, what do you think is the most common thing that people struggle with to identify in themselves?
Themselves. Themselves.
Or themselves.
Yeah. So once they've seen this, I think they understand themselves better. So that's the common theme. That's what you're asking.
Yeah.
The common theme is my aim is when the guys walk out the door, I'll say, you okay? Like, all cool? Yep. Yep, they'll go, no worries. Yeah. When they walk out the door, they've got just that little bit better understanding of themselves. So if they were having performance issues, just say, like not getting a kick, in and out of the side, when after they've finished this, they'll go, oh, okay. I'm actually not training hard enough in the drills that I need to train in. I'm not picking out specific drills that I need to go hard in. So when they walk out the door, they go, righto.
There's clarity.
Yeah. So every training session, they'll come up to me and go, righto, what drills, Hick, should I work hard in today? And I'll say, I reckon this one or this one. Whereas before I would have said that. And they go, oh, no, I'll work hard in every drill. So they couldn't quite see it before. And then when they see it all out in the open on the board, they go, oh, okay, I see now. So it sort of makes them feel better about themselves. They've got an understanding about themselves. Yeah.
As a young player that had no real understanding of what the fuck I was even doing in life, I think once you can clarify your North Star of where you want to go, it just makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
At the beginning, obviously, you need to keep the blinkers off and just get experience in everything. But I suppose once you hit that purpose, that part of being like 1 to 2 years in, narrowing your focus and like getting the blinkers on and understanding what your targets are has improved. Look, we've done it this year with business. Like we got to this point where we were just doing everything, but nothing really well.
Yeah.
And you just become so stretched over your 100% capacity. You're doing 1% of everything okay, but nothing really well.
Yeah, and that reminds me. So the first thing I'd say to you is, how's your business going? And then you say, going well. I say, why only well? And then you'd have a think about that. And then from then on, you'd go, bleh. And then by the end of it, you go, well, this is what I would aim for, I hope. And then you go, geez, we're doing a lot of things well, but we're doing nothing excellent. Like we've got no one wood, they call it, one wood in footy, the same thing. So yeah, so that, and look, I don't even know if you've got to put a caveat on it, but I'm not a psychologist. I don't, but we do make sure the guys are, when they walk out of the room, they understand themselves more, and if they need to go and see anyone else, they go off and do that. But usually a peak in performance or attitude, or I can see him running on the track. So when I'll train, I'm very a selfish coach in a way, because I just look at the forward line players.
Yeah,
I don't sort of cross over too much. And so the coaches always say, you hardly take a drill. I take drills, but when a coach is taking drills, you can't actually coach your players.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most important times is in training, in drills. So not after the drill, not before the drill. There's a little bit you need to do, but in the drill, I'm a yeller. Like, I've got a big voice. And so whatever we've worked on or whatever may have come from the whiteboard session, I'll pinpoint the exact moment on the track when they need to do it based on what we said beforehand. And then I'll say, hey, where's, so off he goes. So you listen more now that happens. Whereas you're speaking before, where's, and you sort of can't quite hear what you're saying. So the benefit of the whiteboard sessions also is the extra work now that happens outside it.
So I'll give you some examples, and obviously not speaking to the personal discussions, but like as a coach of the forward line, like Hawks, amazing this year, and just in general, some amazing players. But I look at Jack Gunston's year this year, and, to put into context, obviously played in that era of Hawks previous, super successful with Buddy and Ruff and all those sort of players. Then looked like coming towards the back end, traded up to Brisbane, doesn't really work out, comes back, got delisted, rookied, bit of VFL, missed the first 2 games, and then comes this year and plays nearly his best season, all Australian. How does that happen?
Yeah, it's a good story, isn't it? Now that you just said it.
Like, it wasn't even in the team the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Like the mental aptitude to be able to shift your focus to be able to do that is incredible. Because I know in a lot of people's minds, you would have been like, I'm here to make up the numbers, I'll help the young kids. But you can actually do that and perform as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's what Jack Gunston, he said in the Best and Fairest speech, one of them, he said to me on the track one day, he goes, you think you know everything, don't you? I said, So him and I, we were like this when we first met.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. No, we weren't angry or anything. I was just being me, and he was, the way I coach is, I'll ask players what they think. What do you think? But because I'm a coach, they're expecting me to go, well, you're the coach. You tell me. And I do the old, well, I'm not out there playing, and that gets a bit old after a while. So then I say, you actually need to know what you're doing intrinsically. Like, you need to understand what you're doing. And if I tell you it's not going to help you. And when Jack and I first worked together, I'd ask him, what do you think? He goes, well, tell me, you're the coach. And I said, well, you're a pretty experienced guy. So we'd have all these not blues, but arguments. And in the end, he's just a really professional guy. And you're right in when you were talking about Jack Gunston just then, I was thinking about how individualised people are. Like, our forward lines, so we'll just go on the forward line because that's who I coach. So Marvell Chol and Nick Watson and Jack Ginnivan and Connor Donald, Dylan. So these guys are so individualised in the way they live life, like who they are. Jack Gunston's always on Twitter or what is it?
Instagram.
Instagram, all of those things, which is fantastic. I love it, and I truly want him by my heart to be himself, but within reason, but just be yourself. And Nick Watson. So Jack Gunston was another one that he needed to be himself. So it wasn't about me going, no, you listen to me, you do it this way. It was about us trying to work together. And it took a while. But in the end, so most times I meet players, we start really high. It's Will Schofield. We start really high and then we go down, and this is in understanding each other and getting along.
So you mean the relationship?
Yeah, the relationship.
Because you want to be buddies at the start.
Yeah, good mates, how you going? And then they really get to know me and they go, this guy, like he's driving me insane. I think I'm consistent in the way I'll coach. And that's why Jack says, you think you know everything, don't you? So, and then they'll come out the other side and they'll realise I'm actually doing it for them. It's not about me. It's about them to help us be a better team to win premierships, really. That's it. And be better people, those guys. Jack and I did that, and we stayed down here a little bit longer and then come out the other side, and then he was fantastic. We worked with Shepparton, Max Ramsden, solidly behind the scenes. In our line meetings, I'd throw to him a bit, and Luke Bruce, and he'd come to me and say, stop throwing to me. And I said, well, you're unlucky because you do know things. And he goes, well, I don't want to answer everything all the time. I said, well, don't, just pass it on to someone else. He goes, you do that. And I said, no, it's your job. You do that. So he got into the groove of, helping others be better just by subtle things like that. Out the training track, he'd help. So, a lot of the work was himself. And the two of us just being open-minded, I think, and understanding each other. And then he performed week in, week out. And, I'd be really honest with him at the start of the week where he sits and how he's going. He wanted that. And then he's a fantastic footballer. His brain is, elite. And his professionalism is really impressive. The way he studies Oppo. Every week he's got a role he has to play. And sometimes you get frustrated with others because they didn't study Oppo as much as he did. So then, we worked out, well, you're different. He plays like this. He's 19 years of age and you play like this. You're how old you are. So, but it was more Jack, the way he went about it.
So it's an amazing analogy. And for those who are listening to the podcast, not watching, Hick was showing, a graph going, starts well, starts sort of flat line. It drops once you get to know each other and can be somewhat friction involved and then can make its way back up. I'll ask this because I know exactly, I've seen these relationships before, but what do you think was a turning point for him this year? Was it continually not forcing, but putting on him by all coaches to be like, hey, you are a really successful brain, like your football brain is amazing. Yes, you've got the talent, but then how did his confidence then sort of arise with that as well, do you think, to play the footy he did too?
Yeah, he'd say his body. He'd say he looked after his body really well in the off-season, and which we do all the time, but I remember the first year he got here, we played a game out at Geelong Grammar, and he hurt himself, and I said, come off. And he didn't want to, because he wanted to stay on there to
prove himself.
And all that, and actually it hurt him. So he's a quick learner. So he learned from that, and he really looked after his body. Sam Mitchell, right from the start, said to Jack Johnson, you're here to help others. That's what your role is.
Yep.
Help the Chelsea Deers, Max Ramsdens, these guys. If you happen to get a game, get a game. If you don't, it's okay. So there was really, really honest, open to Jack all the way through, Mitch and myself and others. His turning point was, his body, and then he always embraced the young guys. Always embraced learning. He gets that tired sometimes. He's out. One time he's out with the AFLW doing the forward line there for a couple of weeks. So he's really open to helping others and teaching others. I just think he relaxed and settled down and just remembered how good he was, and his body proved that, and his training, was Peter Burge really looked after his training. So sometimes he'd be off running on the side, sometimes he'd be in drills, and he had his own feel for that. So he judged that really well as well.
It's amazing. The rest of your forward line, obviously, there's a lot of plays in there, but 2, 3, 4 that have been amazing. Obviously, Wiz, Ginnivan, McDonald, Dylan Moore, that sort of smaller brigade. What's it been like, coaching them, and I suppose the energy that they bring to a group and a football team that can really not just internally but publicly change a football club. Like, I know you're not on social media, but Hawthorn's TikTok, Instagram, what that's built I suppose, for not just the team but the community and the fan base and, all these things. And, that adds to sponsorship dollars, it adds to memberships, it adds to – it's actually quite a massive effect that this young team has had. How do you embrace them to do their best on field but also keep that mindset and attitude off?
Yeah, it's a fantastic challenge to keep them to be themselves. So my main aim is to just have them understand themselves for a start and then to be themselves. Now, when you're young, when I was 21, I thought I knew myself, no worries. But then I would turn 30 and went, oh, geez, I didn't quite. What was I doing back then? That old one. Yeah, so that goes around a fair bit. So
I'm sure they'll still have that. Yeah. There's going to be a few. There's going to be a few of those.
Oh, and I think that's we've got kids, and you try to when the kids are young. So got Liam and Will, so the two sons. I say this is and Molly. It's better off doing it this way, and they go, yeah, Dad, no, I'll do it my way. And then finally they come back to you after 10 years and go, oh, I see. So So keeping them being themselves is the number one thing. I use Spider-Man's analogy. So with great power comes great responsibility, but I chuck out the power, so cross out the power, and I go with great talent comes great responsibility. And with that responsibility comes pressure. So I write it up on the board, and I just want it's also pressure on field, but off field as well. There's, like you said, all the media, all the TikToks, all that sort of stuff. And then on field, you got opposition that don't care who you are. You're Nick Watson, I don't care. I'm going to run with you all day and I'm going to bash you all day. Yeah, you're 19, 20 years of age and I don't care. This is what we're going to do to you. So now the on-field starts grinding as well. So finding the mix with those four that you mentioned, they're all individual. They all got their own unique talents and weapons, like what they're really good at. And just having them understand that week in, week out and at training, some whiteboard sessions with them to bring them back to where they think they should be at, because it's not about me thinking where they should be at, it's about them thinking where they should be at. So that would help in a whiteboard session. They'll read that and I'll go, oh, I'm actually, I heard Wizard, I don't know, thing one day said he played Fortnite for 6 hours. So crikeys. So understanding that, it tires you. That's tiring. It's hard work doing that. So how can we fix that? I'll bring it back by an hour or half an hour. Yeah, okay. He calls me Hickers. Okay, Hickers. We'll do that. We go, good. But no, I don't know whether he's doing it or not. I wouldn't have a clue. Unless there's a drone following him everywhere they are off field. I know all the stuff when they come to club, but when they go home, unless you put a drone on them, wherever they go, except for the toilet and bedroom, wherever they go, it's just following you. So if this drone's watching you wherever you go, how you going? So then, and I don't need to answer that. I don't need to even know what they think. I'm just put it into their brains. So from then on, and then they're training, be who you are, train with excitement, love of the game. You'll be puffed and tired sometimes. You'll be sad sometimes, but just do your best every time you go out on the track, or do weights, or do recovery, or eat. So it's pushing that. But like I said at the first, the main thing is getting them to be themselves and understanding themselves, which I think is really important for young guys. This is who I am. I'm flat out and I'm busy. I do a lot of media stuff. I go on the ground and, then these big bullfed backmen try to belt me and whack me all day, week in, week out. And that's what they've got to do, and that's what they love doing.
Rewind back to young Hickers at Geelong. 1990. What years were the grand finals? 1995 and
94, 95.
94, 95.
92, but I got dropped for that one. Yeah,
got dropped for that one. Oh, that's okay.
Annoying.
2 out of 3. You're playing against Carlton in 95,
yeah.
And then the next year you get traded to Carlton. What was that like?
Yeah, it's strange. Yeah, I did. Yeah, got traded. I didn't want to go. I had back then the trade was just starting. I had a year on my contract, and they said, "No, you're going." I went, "Oh, I said, okay. So, yeah.
What was the conversation like? How did it go?
Well, it was Gary Ayres, a coach, was really honest.
Just called you or a meeting or just
no,
goes,
meeting in like this. Yeah, sits me down, said, we're not going to go with you next year, we're going to trade you. I remember saying, no, I don't. I'm okay.
Yeah, no, that's all
he
good.
goes, no.
That's what I said, like, we're going to delist you. I was like, nah, it's all good. They're like, no, you're actually going. It's like,
oh, damn.
Okay.
That's right. That's exactly right. So when I look back, I go, I was proud of him because he's so honest.
Yeah.
Rather that than, not do it or give me a phone call. Yeah, so I ended up going to Carlton. The first training session, they just beat us in the grand final. So, yeah. So turn up and...
Yeah, so the last game you played, you literally had just lost to them in the grand final.
Yep.
David Parkin's a coach, and then your first session, physical.
Yeah. Well, you heard something.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was no love lost between the two teams at that time, was there?
No. We're playing no, there wasn't. We're playing a handball game and a touch footy game, sorry, and it's not really touch. It's touch, but it's not really touch, yeah. So I'm just got there. I'm like, don't know who to speak to. Like, I'm going, oh, geez, I don't like them because obviously we're all men. So we played a touch footy game, and in the grand final, I remember Peter Dean and Ange Christou were giving each other whacks every now and then, and in the touch footy game, when someone just let go of the ball, I whacked them in the guts, and it's touch footy, not. And I said, no, whatever. And then Peter Dean ran up and we had a bit of a stoush, and he reckons he broke his hand on my jaw, but I reckon I broke his hand because we hit hands. Anyway, we had a bit of stoush, and David Parkin comes up to me and goes, that's okay. You're right, no worries at all. You got to stick up for yourself. And I said, okay, beautiful. That was I think about third session or something. So, yeah, that was exciting. But from then on, it was fantastic. Fantastic club. Yeah, great club. Like, back then, just come off a premiership. Played another one in 99, lost that. And, it was a great team. When I went to Carlton next year, they were just, and Geelong was, but they were so connected and the way they went about things, taught me a lot of things about football and understanding the game. And I obviously got older then too. I was 24, 25, 26. So as you get older, you learn more and more. And I played there for 8 years, so it was good fun.
At Carlton as well, obviously big names at that time too, and one you're still working with today, Brett Ratton, Craig Bradley, some Stephen Kernahan, some absolute fantastic players. I always think now, I've been talking to a lot of players post, their careers and they're still in the game now. How do you think the modern player versus the older player would go in the modern game? So if you're sticking like Craig Bradley or Stephen Kernahan in the modern game, how do you think they'd...
Yeah. Well, straight away I think...
Kuda.
Kuda. So straight away there's some players that could do it. Like Kuda Fedes is... Yeah. Remember the time he picked the ball up with one hand?
Yes. Yeah.
What the hell? This guy's off it. What? I think he did that in the final or grand final, one of them. So some players could, and they're just the players now are so powerful. Like the amount of core work they do, the amount of rehab they do and training. Like, when we played, we were strong, and it was slow. I think it was slower footy. Like there's more contest, more hits and there's no interchange. I remember getting interchanged. If you played bad, you'd come off the ground and sit there for the rest of the game. And if no one played bad, if the 18 were going all right, you'd be sitting on the bench at Geelong. Sometimes I got 10 minutes at the end of the game.
I'm sure you heard Simo played his first 3 games without a touch.
Yeah,
because he'd come on for like 3 minutes each game.
That's right.
Yeah.
So even that, the nutrition of those players to go the whole time. So I think some players could. Craig Bradley, runner. He's a runner. He's a fantastic player. Kuda Fedes, Scott Camperelli on the wing. Yeah, and then there's slowies, Greg Williams and myself. Maybe, but got to be a lot of stoppages. Kernan was fantastic. So certain players could, but I just think the professionalism is way overtaken it, and the speed, the amount of striding, and they're getting taught to run.
The running gait.
Yeah, running gait, like just a slight shift, and then they'll show at the start when the young kid come, and then they'll show after Christmas the change in a slight running gait was amazing, and he's just takes off quicker. Wow, whereas we just slugged along and trained for 2 hours back then, and so some players could, and potentially others might not.
Historically, in your career, top 3 favourite teammates in terms of like your top 3 best you've played with that you think?
Oh, yeah.
And then your top 3 you've played against?
Yeah, so Greg Williams.
Teammate?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, played with at Carlton.
Yep,
so
and against you. Would you have played against him at
Swans? Yeah,
Swans?
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
Gary Ablett Senior was a very, very good player. With Greg Williams, I remember running past a pack one day, front and square, and I ran past and the ball hit me on the back of the shoulder. And I went, he goes, don't ever take off the ball. Somehow he got it out. I didn't know how he did it. And I went, yes, sir. So he taught me a great...
In-game?
Yeah, in-game. So he taught me a great lesson. But his hands, he's tough, real gave out, but he got what he got. And Gary Ablett was just a fantastic player.
What was the best thing you saw Gary Ablett do?
Well, a lot of things. Take marks. He'd give out as good as he got to. He was a really good leadership for the young guys. Like he would help us. So that was probably when I was young then, that was what he did well. And he'd work hard, work hard in the gym and not so hard on the track, but it'd definitely come out in the games. Wayne Carey's the best player opposition I've played against. I thought he's one of the best going around for a long time. And then Kelly from Swans, he's tough and hard and ran all day. I thought he was fantastic. Probably missed out on heaps, but there's a couple.
Yeah, far out. Some really good players there. I love that nostalgia of talking about old players, and it's awesome to hear.
It's good in that we say, so as you're speaking, so when you speak, you got to listen, but try not to think about something to say whilst people that I tell others that. Nick Watts, you'd say go senior to the young guys, to Nick Watt, and they go, oh, what? Who?
Yeah, I know.
So I do smirk at which is understandable. I get it, but I do smirk at the young guys when they go, what? What do you mean?
It's hard. Leaving Carlton into coaching, so was the pathway for you always going to go into coaching, or what was your philosophy on that? And actually, the question I had before that, and I sort of alluded to this earlier around your, coaching philosophy, life philosophy, the way you approach things. When did it, 18-year-old Horsham shearing versus now at Hawthorn Fords / whiteboard guy, okay? Was there a moment on that journey that you it was like not a penny drop, but just a small part of like, here, I can get the most out of myself and this is the way I want to sort of approach what I do? Like, was it when you're at Carlton? Was it when you're at Geelong? What sort of helped you frame that the way you do it?
Framing the way I do is I write in this book, Forever Learning. I call it just Forever Learning myself. So I've got 3 of them, I think. 3 of them. So I do notes, I write journals. Mm-hmm. And I was looking the other day at my first one. Oh, wow. Now I'm looking at the one sort of today and I went, well, there's so much difference. So I think I'm forever learning for one thing. The other one was David Parkin. So David Parkin at Carlton was a fantastic educator and wanted you to do well off-field as well. So I was coaching Shepparton one day at, forgotten where it was, around the Golden Murray, and I spoke at quarter time to my players, and I was yelling like, "Hey boys!" I thought that's what coaches do, like, rah, rah, rah. And then as they broke out, I was playing too, and as they broke out, a hand came on my shoulder. I turned around and it's David Park, and he goes, "Why are you yelling?" He goes, "What are you yelling for?" I said, "What?" He goes, "Why are you yelling at them for?" He goes, "Oh, right, that quarter, like, you're yelling." I went, "Oh." He goes, "You don't have to yell. You don't have to be like me. You don't." I went, "Oh." I went, "Oh, okay." So from then on, I gradually, it still sticks in my mind now. I gradually learned that coaching is actually not about yelling. It's about, educating and hopefully describing your words right and doing research and having players be the best they can so they can understand themselves. So from that point on, I didn't do it. I wouldn't have done it straight away. There's probably more frustrations throughout my coaching career, but that was definitely a turning point that I keep going back to when I start to get a bit frustrated and annoyed. I go, whoa, just take a deep breath, settle down. You don't have to yell. I can explain myself. Another one, just at the end of my career at Carlton, the last 3 years, I went for my pilot license. So it's hard work, and I'm not a very good speller. So on the whiteboard, I have trouble spelling. So the only time I would speak is when I turn around and say, "Oh, how do you spell that?" And then the young kid would go, "Blah." I go, "Thank you." So when I studied for my pilot license, it was hard work to do that. But all I know is when you're in a plane, a little Cessna, if you panic and lose control, you're gonna the plane just falls down to the ground, and wouldn't survive that too much. So through that time of learning to get my license, I learnt that stress, you must be calm under pressure. So and again, not saying I do that all the time. You probably get agitated and frustrated at times. But those two things stand out to me.
It's really hits a strength, especially for me at the moment. Like the one being calm under pressure is something that I'm always sort of like yearning towards, because I think there's a lot of, maybe to generalise, young men, you can get quite emotional about things straight away, right? And we're probably taught like emotion and that like fight or flight. It's really good to put your fists up and get ready to go. But I've found like even now, since I've hit my 30s, I try and just take 24 hours on each rule, because I have a 24-hour rule, like anything that pops up that I can feel the emotion come, I will wait 24 hours till and drink like 3 bottles of water to make myself relax, and then the next day come back with a completely different like opinion on what's going to happen. And it was funny, my when I learnt that as well was at school. Not that I ever got sent to the principal's office, but one day I did. And I came in and you're ready to go. You're already like in your head, you're already thinking, I know what I'm going to say here. Like I'm ready. And there was a water fountain out the front of her office. And she said, before you say anything, like, here's a paper cup and go and fill it up 6 times. And once you filled it up 6 times and like drank it, you can come in and see me. So I had to like fill this cup up 6 times. And by the time I drank the 6th one, I was like completely calm. And I went back in and I was like, oh, fuck, I feel so much better. So now for me, it's like drink water and give it time.
Yeah.
And it'll just like completely and that's a little bit hard when you're in a plane and it's going down. But I think like the principle of it sort of makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's good. Hydration, I'm no nutritionist either, but hydration matters. So
that's science.
Yeah, so it makes sense. It makes sense in what you're saying. Yeah.
Coaching from Shep, you went to WA from there? No,
so from Shep went to Rumbalara. So Rumbalara is an Aboriginal team.
Yep.
In Shepparton.
In Shepparton, okay.
Yeah. So I coached that for 1 year.
Yeah.
Set up small programs around it and worked in a place called ASH, Academy Sport and Health Education for young Indigenous kids, just learning Cert 1 in time management and just little certificates in that. So that was a good year. Then after that year, I went to what do they call it now? It was a TAC Cup. But what do they call it now?
Yeah. You went to Coach League.
In Gippsland Power.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I spent 1 year there. And
who was in your team that year?
No one that got drafted.
No draft.
No draft, so shit house.
Yeah. Okay, so you got sacked.
So I got sacked. Peter Francis is there. He's a beauty. So he's so 1 year there, then to Essendon.
Yep.
So with Matthew Knights.
Yes.
So with Matthew Knights. So I did 3 years there.
With the what line?
I was Box Hill coach, so head of development there.
Head of development, yeah.
Yeah, head of development. So and the Box Hill coach, Bendigo Bombers.
Bendigo Bombers,
Remember that? Yeah.
Yep.
So I travelled up to Bendigo once a week, trained the guys up there, stayed the night.
That would have been when Stuart Cramery was coming through.
That's right. Yeah. So Coach Stuart Cramery. Yeah. So that's right. And then after that, I went to. Then Matty Knight's got the sack, so we moved on. And then I remember going, oh no. So I've got 3 kids, wife and 3 kids. And I went down to the bay and went, I said, this is not good. I didn't know what I was going to do at all. Jobs have been, it was sort of late-ish in the year. Jobs have been, there's not much jobs going on. I thought, what am I going to do? So when I went to Shepparton, I was a forklift driver. So I played, coached, and a forklift driver. So I got up at 2 a.m. in the morning and worked, and then coached, and then did that. So that got me through, and I'm thinking, I don't want to do that again. I'm not knocking it, but it was hard work. And then, lucky enough, someone from WA gave me a call, so Swan Districts, give me a call and said, come up here and have a go. So I coached the Colts there. And was the manager sort of in the area, development manager, and did 1 year there. Then I went to West Coast after that.
And was that when Simo was coaching?
That's when John Worsfold was coaching.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think it was 2 years. I'm hopeless with dates. So 2 years with John, and then Adam Simpson come in.
Amazing.
And then I coached there. Yeah.
Yeah. Until what year did you coach there till?
When Sam Mitchell. When Sam Mitchell was a coach here. Yeah. So what was it? Was it 221?
Yes.
221? Yeah.
Yeah.
So 221, come over here, and then been here since. So Sam Mitchell was at West Coast. Yeah. Played and coached.
So you met Sam through that?
Yeah, West Coast.
It's crazy how the connectedness of coaching, meeting people through different clubs, and how opportunities arise is pretty awesome.
It's cool, isn't it? Yeah, it's great.
What were your favourite things under Simo?
Education. His way to educate keynotes.
Yeah.
I remember at West Coast we weren't using keynotes, we were using PowerPoint. Mm-hmm. And Adam Simpson comes in and goes, "You'll be swapping over to keynote," and I go, "What?" Because how something's unnormal. What? So as a great example, just looking forward, education, the way educating the players, educating the coaches, calm. Yeah, he was fantastic. It was good.
The ultimate success there as well in 2018.
Yeah.
What was it like being part of that?
Yeah, great. Yeah.
What do you remember about that year in general? And what line coach?
No, I was 2014. When did we lose it? 2015.
15.
I was coaching the back line.
Yep.
So I coached the development back line, the senior back line, and then I was a mentor to some players there. So my role was being a mentor and working with the coaches.
Yep.
In 2018.
Yep.
So that's what I was doing. Yeah. It was fantastic. Like we lost a couple of players, Nick, Gaff, Shepherd, and to keep doing what we did was it was a fantastic year. Yeah, great.
I love speaking to coaches about the storytelling, I suppose, or the motivation of a year, right? And like how to build a story throughout the year to inspire or to draw back on throughout. Is that something that you like to do in your coaching philosophy as well?
I'm not. Yeah, yep. I actually don't. I think players need to be motivated to. I always go back to be the best they can. So however we do that, and you're talking about individuals, and then you're talking about lines, and then you're talking about a team. And then you're talking about. There's 2 teams. So at Hawks we've got Box Hill, and so there's 43 players on the list. So Adam Simo was very good at that. He built stories. Like 1 year was climb a mountain and get up to the mountain. You've heard most of those things. So keeping the story going, keeping the sort of theme-ish week in, week out. Mitch does it here. Themes, and they're not right out there. They're just subtle. Without players sometimes mightn't see it. But just keeping the main aim is, like I said, keep the players engaged. And I think, what I hear, the coaches that coach well and keep coaching, we all coach well, don't we, in our own right? But there's the engagement of the players wanting to get out of bed and then wake up in the morning and come to training. So my dream is to have players wake up in the morning, and I'd say this to the players and forwards, and wake up in the morning, feel get out of bed. And then look, when they get from having breakfast to get in the car, they close the car door and then drive to training. They want to drive. they're looking forward to getting to training. Now, it won't happen all the time. It won't happen every day because there's sad times. And then when they close the door and drive home, they go, that was a good day. Just to themselves, or if they ring their wife or girlfriend or mum and dad, or how'd your day go? Yeah, it's a good day. Yeah. Or how'd you go today? Yeah, it's a bit rough. I didn't quite get a game, but they were really honest with me, and I feel real good to go back to Box Hill and play the footy I know how to play. So that's the aim. That would be my philosophy. And if I can get individuals, then Lions, the team to do that, that's the aim for it. Yeah.
You said before with Gary Ayres when you left Geelong, and he's like, we're trading you, right? And it's not always news that you want to hear, but at the time, that can end up being a positive somewhere down the track, or you can somehow find it to be something that works for you in the future. Where I'm getting at with this question is, I suppose, like in the footy world and in the coaching world, I think there's an element sometimes of, and I suppose in every world, there's yes men, and then there's surrounding yourself with people that will challenge you. And it seems like Sam Mitchell's done a great job in that of having different people with different skill sets to be able to challenge each other. How do you I suppose give advice to people in that realm of being true to yourself and challenging senior, in quotation marks, authority, or continuing to have your own values and challenge people around you to get the best out of each other? Because if you're just continuing to say yes to each other and pat each other on the back, ultimately things aren't going to change really.
No, So I'm not good at that because I just say what I see.
But that's good though.
I know it's good.
Yeah. Isn't that bad?
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm not.
For you, it's not even an issue.
Well, yeah. Well, it is. It is. It can be.
Because are you too blunt?
Okay. Because the person I say to, they go, what? Then I try to reset myself. I go, I've done it again. And now I'm trying to get to a stage where sorry. I meant it, but I didn't mean to say it straight up like that. It just comes out. Damn, I nearly go crooked myself. So
I don't think from someone though, I don't think Sam would be upset with you doing that.
No. Sam's as again with all different players. So with the players, I can be.
The players can be hard because you have to work out who it takes.
What I mean? There's short time. I can training and get it done. And I suppose it's, in a way, now that I said that, it feels like throwing my authority around. But we are 50-50.
Yeah.
We're 50%. Hey, I get it's my fault. I haven't taught you, but come on, you need to work hard at that to make it evens. You're it's about 70-30 at the moment. So that's unfair. So, however, with others like staff or my wife or kids, and if I go bleh, so I have no trouble with it. My trouble is to articulate it where I don't use my big tone of voice and my eyebrows and my facial expression. So I try to work hard on that sort of stuff. At times it gets me because when I walk away, I go, they don't quite. Because you have a communication, they didn't quite get what I was saying. Whereas if I just said it, they would have got it. But this person, if I say it to them, it's not going to be any good. So, and that's about managing up and down.
It's funny what you said before about, chatting to your wife about it. It took me a couple of years to realise that my wife didn't like being communicated to like a teammate.
That's right.
It took me a while to realise that.
Well, and you're right. It's probably where I get it from. Even with the players, I think it's unfair if you cannot tell a player where they stand or where they're at and what they need to work on, and you can't. I think it's unfair to them if we're not totally honest with them and say straight out, you need to work on this. And then also, I think it's unfair if you can't have enough time to help them. If I spend my time on computer or going and have coffees by myself, that's unfair as well. So time for me is real important for players themselves and family, obviously.
Relationship with Sam, we've just spoken about it now, but thoughts on Hockball. We spoke about the players coming to the game now and what he's been able to do for, I suppose, the AFL and Hawthorn in general. Where do you rate him as one of the coaches that you've worked with?
Yeah, it's hard without putting other coaches.
Of course, yeah.
I just rate his football brains, the way he sees the game, the way he can look at a clip and describe it straight away, and put us under like line coaches or coaches, not under pressure, but what do you see here? Is it what we want as a team? Is it what we want as a coaching group? So his brain to see the game and to articulate is fantastic. Some of the sessions Sam does, even using your left hand and right hand, where to hold the ball. We'll do a half an hour session on it, just from the youngest guy to the oldest guy. Everyone learns, and there's even guys on the outside go, well, we're sitting there really taking note too, and that's sort of rare in a way, isn't it? Like he feels the game really well and sees it really well. So and is able to articulate and educate it, whether it's in a training drill or whether it's on game day.
Where would you like to get to with your own coaching? Like, would becoming a senior coach be something that you'd want to do? Yeah,
it is. I've been saying I'm in no rush, but I'm getting 52 now. So
that's pretty young.
That's right. Yeah, I know. Well, it's a highlight for, I'm not sure how many old blokes there are like us that want to become a head coach and get into it. But Fags has sort of led the way in that, hasn't he? So the opening is still there, and so I'd like to do it. I'd like to do it, but it's not. I'm not rushed to do it. Because I think if you're in a rush, you don't do your own job properly. I think now that I've said that, it's like, you're just covering your ass hick. And it's not really, because if I'm a rush to get to the senior coach, how am I going to concentrate on our forwards as best that I should to get them to play the best footy they can for us? So I think it's unfair to them. So, but I do some work, on the outside, and like I said, my Forever Learning book is growing and moulding itself into what I feel a head coach looks like in my way.
Can I ask you this? If you, I like language, but when you were to become a senior coach instead of when, what do you think are the most important appointments you can make? In terms of, like, say you've got three roles to bring with you. Yeah. What do you think they would be?
Psychologist.
Yep.
So a psychologist, it's hard to get them full time, but a psychologist, a walk around psychologist, so he walks on the ovals and does all that sort of thing. The head of performance, so the sort of Peter Bird role.
Yep.
I think's really
the high performance manager.
High performance manager is really important. We've always got a footy manager there, so they're really important, I think. But I'm not. They're already there.
Yep.
So and then a sort of a coach. I wouldn't want a best mate or a person I know really close there, because I think I think that's biasism. I'll get. I think that's unfair. But a senior-ish. Assistant coach that we can chat to, that you can sort of lean on,
like a director of coaching or something.
Director of coaching. Johnny Wardrop was he's an opposition coach. He's been in football for 30, 40 years, and a guy like that knows things and is just real experienced. 60 odd. It's perfect for a role that he can sort of mentor coaches and mentor me.
Well, you see what's happened, even, speaking of Chris Fagan, he was sort of playing that role at Hawthorn. Then you've got Danny Daly at Brisbane now that, everyone's sort of talking about. So it sort of shows like that manager role can really, obviously support so much. But, mate, I think you'd be an amazing senior coach. So I really, really not that you need my encouragement, but continue to go down that path.
Are we getting out what you want here?
100%.
Are we?
Cool. Yeah. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah. I was just making. I just had a thought there when you said that. I'll make sure we get. Yeah.
No, 100%. Now, I must have some tidbits here from some of the boys that you've worked with. Tell us about Footy Gods. What's the Footy Gods?
Footy Gods. So this is only on the footy field.
Yes.
Footy Gods.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Oh, okay.
It's only on the footy field.
Yeah.
So it's only on the footy field. So training track, and game day is footy guys. If you do something that no one sees, so you run, it helps. So you run from one end of the ground to the other. You've saved a teammate. You didn't even save a goal. You just saved a teammate. No one sees it. It's not visual to anyone. You'll get it back on the ground. So the next 10 minutes, 20 minutes, you'll come back in return. So that's the footy gods.
So footy god, if you do something good, you'll get rewarded back.
Yeah.
I like that. I never really looked after me, the footy gods, but maybe that was saying more about myself. Scully wants you to take out the fake teeth. What's the...
I'm not doing that. I still got fake teeth too. I got fake teeth, yeah. So I've had them. I lost my teeth against Carlton. And no punching. So Darren Hume, little tough.
Yeah.
He was on the ground. I went to pick up a ball as he was coming up, and we went whack.
Face to face.
My teeth hit the top of his head.
Oh.
And my teeth the three of them went, and the ball was there. And I thought, I'll go and get the ball. And then I had no teeth.
So no mouth guard?
It was in my sock.
Yeah. Very good. Did an entire pre-season with the playing group of the Eagles and probably could have played that year.
Fittest I've ever been.
That was at 45 years old.
Fittest I've ever been. I was fit, yeah. Yep. I'd run with the guys, then I'd run with the rehab guys. So it was the fittest. I'm not sure I could have played because
that was a few years later, though, that you actually probably would have got a game.
Yeah, well, I wasn't
recently. If you were there now.
I can't laugh at that. I can't laugh at that. So I was fit. Yeah, got fit.
What were you doing? What was the?
I just did everything with the boys. Yeah. So.
Were you training for anything, or just in general?
No. Now I think about it, I should have done something. Yeah, but I don't like an Ironman or something like that. But the only thing is I didn't do all the handball games and the tough stuff. But I was fit. Yeah.
Far out. Why do you always want debts? Why do you always want debts paid in crayfish?
I love crayfish, and I miss them.
Because in WA, there's
we had a boat, and kids and I would go out and catch crayfish and bring them back. And, yeah, that's right. Yep, and cook them on the barbie. And I love it. I love them. So
where did you go, like in fishing, with fishing up in the coast? Like one of my really good mates, Blaine Bokhorst, he's from WA.
Yeah.
His family's from Port Hedland, but they now live in Dampier.
I
so we go up there fishing.
Coached him in Swan Districts, yeah.
Did you really? Yeah.
High jumper?
Yeah. No, he was a high jump and really randomly played volleyball.
Oh, yeah, that's right, volleyball. Yeah. That's right, volleyball.
I forgive you for getting that. Yeah. It's not very memorable. Yeah, but his family is amazing fishing. So I've been lucky enough to go to the Dampier, do the bombies, swimming under the rock, hold your breath. It's a sport in itself. Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah. No, I haven't been up that far. So at Hillary, so I just went back to Hillary's and did that, the rock shelf along there and out to the ocean out there when it was calm. So loved it. It was excellent. So,
the coastline on this
beautiful
west of Australia is just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. What is your morning routine and how did it start?
You've been talking to people. So exercise. I just do exercise. Most people do. So I do 100 push-ups and sit-ups every morning and go for a swim anytime I can. But I must swim in the ocean once a day. So whether it's at night time, so through winter, it's freezing. So through winter I do the same thing. But and if I don't do them, I was saying before, if I don't do my exercise, I feel a bit irky. So So
do you pump out 100 no break?
No, I was doing 100 by no break, but then my daughter looked at me doing one day and she says, Dad, they're not proper push-ups. They're half push-ups.
So you don't do 50?
And I went, I said, yeah, you're right. So then I went back to 50 and 50.
Okay, so you do chest to ground now.
Now I go all the way up and all the way down, whereas before it was
come on.
She had a crack at me, which is fair enough.
And the oceans, so like that's, do you just do that for the salt water or like it's
just
routine?
It's mindfulness stuff. So I really do mindfulness and swim. So anytime I get a chance to be by myself for 20, half an hour, it's gold for put the mask on first.
I'm not going to even compare this to what you do, but when I was living in Sydney, and the water is a lot warmer there than it is in Sandringham. But I'd almost do this thing. This is pre-knowing anything about, your mind. I'd do this thing where I'd go under a wave, and when you like put your whole body under a wave, it sort of like shakes your body. It goes with the wave.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
It's the best feeling. And I'd almost think that every time I went under, it was just flushing all the energy out of my body, like from my fingertips to like my toes. And my wife would just be standing there going like, what the fuck is this guy just like swimming under all these waves? I do it like 10 times just to like flush it all out. And on a bad day or a lot's been going on, I just sit out there for like 30 minutes and just go under as many as I could. And I've just never felt better. But I don't live near the ocean anymore. So I've had to change my thing to just walking around the trees.
Yeah,
and I just talk to the trees and thank them for the oxygen.
I love it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's gold.
Yeah,
it's so cool. So one thing you have to get used to about being we're normal, but a little bit different-ish. Is that so? When others look at it, like, what are you doing? What are you doing that for? So amongst our group of players, the same thing. That's just who he is. Like leave him. So what you're doing then, it made sense to me, but maybe made sense to a lot of others and maybe not others. So I think that's the hardest thing is when you're doing something that you love. I sit out in a boat and can't catch a fish. I put rods out everywhere, but I don't really try to catch a fish, but I'd love to catch one. And I just sit there. I go camping for 5 nights by myself. What? By yourself? Why? What are you doing? But so that's a challenge in itself. So that's a challenge to stay who you are. So that's like you were saying before. If I was a head coach, or what we try to do with our guys now is push them to be themselves, because if they feel good and feel right, surely they can bring their best footy and the best off-field and on-field. So but that was good. I like that.
What's the weirdest thing you do, you reckon?
No, there's no weird thing. I don't like going to work in my work clothes. So
you get changed at work?
I get changed at work, yeah. Sometimes I get changed in the car. So I try to separate my work from home, work from outside work life. Yep. So when I come here, I travelled in tracksuit pants, but then I got changed in the car because I didn't want to travel in this, because this is not work. This is good fun.
Yeah.
I want to keep that out there. So
that's really good. I know what you say. It's more the analogy. It's not like you don't want to wear dirty clothes. It's the fact that you want to separate the two people.
Yeah. So sometimes I go somewhere and I'll find myself getting changed in the car. Like I'm looking, the car's not that big. Yeah. I'm thinking, what am I doing? Why don't I just wear the clothes? So it's very even after a game, say them said, I'll get in the car and I'll put my tracky backs on straight away. I won't travel home in my gear that I've just.
You want to start getting into the wind down into your other parties.
Just travel. Just because if I keep wearing the clothes, I don't know. It's just the thing I've got. It's very strange. My wife,
that's so good.
Strange.
Hickers, you have been unbelievable today, mate. You've delivered in spades, and genuinely some absolute gold there that not only is the audience but myself. Will be taken on board. So I really, really appreciate your time, and congratulations on everything you've achieved to date too, mate. Like with your playing, your coaching, the impact that you've had on countless amounts of young men and in the AFL system. And I'm sure today, people hearing this podcast will learn so much from it, and can't wait to see you achieve everything that you want to achieve. So really, really appreciate your time, mate, and it's been amazing getting to know you.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
You're a star. Cheers.